This is today's tutorial, which I've named Moroccan Sunset. I asked you on social media what you think it should be called and you all said sunset of some kind, and as Morocco is one of the main eyeshadow colours, it made sense. So I'm priming my eyelid and neutralising the eyelid using some foundation. If you find you get quite oily eyelids, then maybe try Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC or Urban Decay's Primer Potion. If you find soft ochre to be too yellow for your skin tone, try Painterly by MAC because that's slightly pinkier. So I'm going in with Flamethrower eyeshadow by MakeUp Geek, and this is one of their foiled eyeshadows, so you can use this wet or dry. These are really metallic and super reflective, and I find they go on best when you use your finger. Now I wasn't quite sure where I was going with this look, so we will be covering a lot of this up in the tutorial, but the consistency of these eyeshadows works as a really great base for other eyeshadows to stick to, so although we do end up covering a lot of this colour up, it's still a great base to start with. So I've applied this colour to the eyelid, going up to where the eye naturally creases, and now I'm using a MAC 286 Duo Fibre Brush to blend the seam of this eyeshadow. Now you can lose some of the reflectiveness when you do some of the blending, so it's a good idea to go back in and reapply that colour. The next eyeshadow I'm taking is also by MakeUp Geek, and this one is called Morocco, and it's a matte finish burnt orange colour. I'm going back in with that same MAC 286 Duo Fibre Brush. I'm working this directly into the socket of the eye. As this brush is slightly tapered at the ends, it just sinks into the natural socket, and the outer bristles that surround the tapered point do all the blending for you. And just work your brush in circular motions to help that blend all the way across your socket. Then go in with a clean, flat top blending brush and just work that over the seams of the eyeshadow to blend that further. And the reason I use more of a domed or a flat top blending brush is because it covers more surface area, as opposed to the tapered blending brushes which work better in the crease. The next eyeshadow I'm taking is also by MakeUp Geek. It's called Bitten. This is a reddish brown shade and it's also a matte finish. Using the Sigma E47 shader crease brush, I'm working this directly into the socket. Using a smaller brush means we can be more precise with where we apply that colour. We don't want to overtake that beautiful blending that we've already done. Instead, we're going to use this to intensify the crease and also creating a halo effect. So going through that socket, also covering the very inner third of the eye and the outer third of the eye. We're then going back to our MAC 286 brush and dipping that into a very small amount of the Morocco eyeshadow, and we're tracing our steps, working that through the socket. So we're going over Bitten, and it's going to blend those two shades together, so you can't see where one colour starts and the other ends. Instead you've got a beautiful gradient. And we're going to repeat the process with our blending brush and just soften the edges. Going into another MakeUp Geek eyeshadow, this one is called Americano, and it's a dark matte brown with a purple undertone. And going back to my Sigma E47 shader brush, I'm sweeping this eyeshadow colour onto the inner third of that mobile eyelid and the outer third of the mobile eyelid, so only up to where the eye crease is. Then I'm going back in with my MAC 286 and reapplying again a very small amount of Morocco eyeshadow and then blending that out. I'm now intensifying that Americano shade and also pulling it out on the outer corner. Although we're going to be applying a pigment over this, we still need that smoky foundation under the pigment in order for it to be nice and intense. Here I'm using what's left on the bristles to pull the colour out further, and then I'm blending that with the fluffy blending brush. The first pigment I'm using is by Neve Cosmetics in the shade Compilation. Now obviously this is optional. If you like it as it is, then you don't have to touch it. I'm applying this to the outer third of the eye and the inner third of the eye and meeting in the centre, a smaller version of that halo. Then I'm taking Famous Pigment by Peaches and Cream, which is a really nice warm gold. And on a MAC 239 brush, I'm pressing this directly over the centre of that mobile eyelid. So we're creating a beautiful gold spotlight on the centre of the eyelid. Then cleaning up under the eye creates a nice sharp effect on the outer corners. Now I'm going in with Peach Smoothie, also by MakeUp Geek. To complete the eyeshadow on the top lid, I'm working this through the brow bone. Taking a brown gel liner by Bobbi Brown, this one is in Sepia Ink. I'm working this over the waterline. This is optional, you could wear a cream liner here, but I think it just adds a subtle smokiness to the eyes. Moving on to the bottom lid, I'm taking a small smudger brush and the colour Morocco, which is the burnt orange, and I'm blending that all the way across the bottom eyelid, so from the very inner corner to the outer edge where we meet with the top lid. Then I'm using the very tip of the smudger brush and working Bitten into the root of the lashes and smudging that down into Morocco. Then using an angled liner brush, I'm taking Americano and working that directly into the root of the lashes. And this is going to create a really nice gradient using all three of those tones. Now it's time for mascara. I'm using Too Faced Better Than Sex. I'm using a metal tooth combed wand to apply the mascara just so I can be a bit more precise and that I don't blob it onto the pigments that I've already applied. Then off camera I'm applying a couple of individual cluster lashes. I've already applied some Too Faced Born This Way foundation to my skin. You've seen me apply foundation loads of times, so I'm going straight in with the contour. The one I'm using is the Sculpt and Glow palette by Natasha Denona. The brush I'm using is by Zoeva. It's the 117 Petite Definer Buffer Brush. And then on the Crown Sinfo brush, I'm applying a small amount of that contour down the sides of my nose. I'm then going in with my foundation brush and just pressing this directly over the contour to make sure everything's nice and seamless. Now I'm adding NARS Laguna bronzer to the tops of the cheekbones to give a nice sun-kissed appearance to the skin. Remember, bronzer's for bronzing and contour is for contouring, so that's why I'm using the bronzer on the tops of the cheekbones as opposed to in the hollows of my cheeks. I'm also running that down the centre of my face and also around my hairline where the sun would naturally hit. For blush, I'm using this one by MAC called Sweet as Cocoa, and I'm working that onto the apples of the cheeks and pulling the colour back ever so slightly. This blush colour really complements the colours that we've got on the eyes. Just to make sure that it's not too intense, I'm going over that with my foundation brush. For lips, I'm going to colour them in using this lip pencil by Illamasqua, and it's in a burnt orange shade. I will list the name of it in the description bar if I can find it. So I'm lining my lips and then using my finger just to blend it across the lips so it's nice and subtle. Then I'm going in with MAC's lip pencil in the colour Brick, and I'm using this colour to line the outer edges of the top and bottom lip. And in doing this, it's creating a nice gradient which is very similar to what we've got on the eyes. This doesn't just work well with brown eyes. The warm colours really complement blue and green eyes and make them really stand out. And MakeUp Geek eyeshadows are so affordable, so I will link them all in the description bar for you. Thank you all for watching. Please give the tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. The subscribe button is on screen now and it's clickable, as is my previous tutorial if you missed it, and my social handles are also on screen. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye!